Hello, hello, hello. This is Kenny Perkins, aka your cancer guy, and I'm coming to you just to say, hey, you know what? We have gems that we've dropped in 2023. So many episodes when people came in and added value. If you're looking for value and looking for something that you know you can benefit from along your cancer journey, man, this is this is going to be the spot where you find gems packed in one episode, right? We just give you different episodes in one episode where you can walk away and benefit. So this is part two, right? Hope you listened to part one because we gave you so many gems that happened in 2023. And that was just half. I'm going to give you the other half now. So this is amazing. If you need assistance on your journey, if you find yourself stuck, if you find yourself in a predicament where you know you don't know what to do, this is the episode to listen to, right? Because we're going to give you so many gems. Sometimes it's not about being motivated, right? Because motivation can leave, right? You need that motivation. You need to motivate something to keep you going, to get you started, right? To get you going, to moving in the right direction. But sometimes motivation moves and leaves. So what do you have next? You have consistency. You have to stay consistent regardless of the motivation. So I hope that these gems in this episode can help you along your journey that you can benefit from. So we're going to get it right into it. We had Nicole Andrews from Kenwick, Washington on the show. She came in and she talked to us about nutrition. Listen to this clip as she talks to those who may have been going through chemotherapy and have lost their taste buds. What are some of the things that you can do to help you along the way if you're suffering from that? Listen in. For those patients that have problems when it comes to tasting their food, what do you tell your clients?
Yeah, it's tricky. Everyone's a little bit different, but when there's that metallic taste, certain foods are going to have more of it. So a lot of times it's going to be like the protein choices or maybe like red meats in particular. So you may have to just change up some of the foods that you normally eat, not using actual like metal utensils, using like plastic or like chopsticks or something like that to actually be eating your food. A couple different tricks that you can use before meal times, like well, I had one client do like a scoop of sorbet ice cream, but you can do like suck on a lemon or like mince before you have your meal. Lemon might be better because it's more like meal flavor. And then also just try more foods, just see if maybe there's other foods that are going to taste good during this time. You can do like make things really sweet or really spicy. That might help to mask over that metallic taste. And yeah, it's not easy. Just keep trying different foods. It will return, your normal taste will return. And then also just finally, maybe some of your favorite foods, put them on hold when you have really strong taste changes because you may create an aversion to those. Just try different things and whatever you're trying is not weird. Okay. That's one thing my clients are like, oh my God, I figured out this great thing to eat, but it's so weird. It's not weird. Like if you need to like have sorbet before you have your dinner, because that's how it improves your taste buds, like just do it. It's cool. Like that's fine.
So I hope you listen to in on Nicole as she dropped those gems. Sometimes when that metallic taste happens in your mouth and the foods that you once desired don't taste the same, what do? She starts talking to you about maybe using lemon, some type of citrus foods, right? Lemon that can help you. If you're having a metallic taste, get away from forks, things with metal. Maybe use chopsticks or plastic forks or something like that. These are gems, right? So if you're going through something like this where chemo has affected your taste buds, don't worry. She drops in some knowledge on things that you can do. So I hope you benefit from that. Our next guest from Los Angeles, California, we're talking about Alex Hooper. He comes in and he drops gems. You know, one of the things that people go through is they don't want to feel or be treated differently because they've been diagnosed with cancer, right? You don't want that. You want to be treated the same. You want to, hey, I want to be, in the mix. I want to laugh. I want to cry with the different stories or the different things in life that we talk about. I want to be treated as a normal human being. He talks about that. Listen in as he drops gems on how you should treat a person who's been diagnosed with cancer. Listen in as he talks about how a person wants to be treated who's diagnosed with cancer. A lot of the listeners want to know, how do you put yourself in a frame of mind to move like that?
A lot of it is I'm a very positive person. People know me for just being very joyful and having fun all the time. And I basically had to tell myself to surrender to this diagnosis. There's nothing I can do right now. I can't suddenly magically make it go away. So I'm going to be in LA for 6 months. I thought about how I was going to tell people. The one thing I didn't want was for me to start getting sickly and then people noticing it and then people asking me like, hey, are you okay, man? What's going on with you? So I immediately, because I am somewhat of a public figure, I made a YouTube video basically announcing I had cancer and telling people to not treat me any differently, that I'm not a fragile person. You don't need to treat me any way that you already haven't. And I told people it can be a little condescending. They have their heart in the right place. But I always tell people, hey, if I'm out, like if we're having dinner together, if we're hanging out in the park, if I'm doing a show, whatever it may be, I'm good. If you don't see me for weeks at a time, then you can start to worry and ask me how I'm feeling.
So did you notice Alex talked about, hey, you know what? He's an outgoing guy. He's a person who is always positive. And so if you see him out, right, then that means he's okay. That means, hey, you don't have to worry. So the same thing, right? If you see a person who's been diagnosed with cancer, one of your loved ones, your caregiver, or someone who you're taking care of, and they're out for dinner and they're socializing, it means, hey, they're okay. They're ready to socialize. They don't want to think about, guess what? Hey, you have cancer, or I want you to feel sorry for them. No. Alex dropped a lot of gems on there. So for those that are going through it, it's up to you to take those steps. You see, Alex said, you know what? I went out. I wanted to be normal. I wanted to go out to dinner. I wanted to do the things that I normally do. So I hope you guys took notes on that. Our next guest who we had in 2023 was Lawrence Harpley out of Charleston, South Carolina. Listen, she came in and she dropped some gems for you. Listen in as she talks about what it's like to go through cancer, not only you, but your family members.
Having a diagnosis, obviously you're affected. Your loved ones also. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. For me, I'm very fortunate. I live very close in proximity to my family. I mean, they're here now with my daughter. They're here all the time and I love it. But you need different people to vent to. All the things you can confide in a breastie about, like someone who shares your diagnosis. So the tribulations, like how bad the Neulasta pain is, right? I can tell you what that feels like, but unless you have felt your bones making bone marrow, you don't know what that feels like. I was 34 years old. Span of 2 months, I lost the ability to climb the stairs in my house. I just sleep downstairs for months. Like it was crazy. My husband would sleep on the couch next to me because I couldn't get upstairs. So there's just things that like you'll want to talk to people who share your exact journey with, things that you can commiserate on, but you have to understand like everybody's going through it just, in different ways. So you need to find your person for each thing, your vent person, your binge eating person, your not eating with person, all those things.
And did you notice Lauren came in and she talked about it wasn't easy. Here she was, a 34-year-old young lady, but she couldn't even get up the stairs anymore. Her body just wouldn't do it. She had to sleep downstairs, she said, for months. And so what do you think about your family, what they're going through, and seeing you like that, or seeing her like that? If you're going through this and your family seeing you in a vulnerable position, it's not easy. But what she talked about is that she had different family members or friends that she spoke to about different things. She kind of categorized them, right? And so that's a gem. If you are going through something and you want to talk to someone about emotional feelings that you're going through, maybe that's a different individual. If you want to talk to someone about, hey, maybe the chemo or the radiation that you're going through or the different types of treatment you're going through, maybe that's a different person, right? And then also opening yourself up to listen to some of the things that your family may say, right? Gems, things that you can walk away with and things that you can utilize on your cancer journey. Let's go. Our next guest, we had Christine Handy from Miami, Florida. Let me tell you, she came in and she gave us a nice show. Her episode, let me tell you, she came in and talked about how do you show up? How do you show up for individuals? Listen in as she talks to us about some of these issues.
You're going through this transformation and now you're trying to just live. What was a turning point for you?
Well, I had a lot of women show up for me. I want to be very clear about that. When we have a support system, it's life changing. That's one of the reasons why I wrote my book. It's one of the reasons why I went to become a speaker. It's one of the reasons why I love using my voice, because I like to talk about women championing for each other, women showing up for each other. And it doesn't have to cost you money. It can be a text. Like when I was sitting in chemo, I would get texts from various neighbors and friends, just hang on. And, we're thinking about you. We're praying for you. Those are life-changing texts. And so I think showing up for people is so critical, not just cancer, but in life. And so they were teaching me just by the act of showing up that when I was well, I was like, okay, I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up in my modeling to help people. I'm going to show up as a speaker. And that took me to the prison system. If you had told me 15 years ago I was going to be working in the male prison system, I would say that would never happen. And so if you can ignite hope in places of despair, it doesn't matter where it is and doesn't matter the demographic. You're just providing hope. And so showing up to me is showing up in every space of my life and showing courage and saying, I don't need to show up for you when it's the highlight reel. I'm going to show up for you always, period.
Did you notice that Christine talked about showing up for individuals when they need it? When a person is at their lowest point, they're feeling vulnerable. Sometimes you just need someone to give you that hope, someone to give you that light. And showing up is a major part of that. And so if you're someone on this cancer journey and you want to infuse someone with that type of love, sometimes it's just a basic thing about showing up, just being there. It's powerful. And so I hope that you guys can walk away with this, see some of these gems, utilize these gems, go out and give some of these gems that you've learned, right? Share them because we need them. Having a support system is crucial in any parts of life, right? Having a support system, someone who understands you, someone who is there for you no matter what, is crucial. And so when you get diagnosed, how important is it to have someone there that's going to show up and support you along the way? I always say that you got to have a support system. You have to find your tribe. You have to build that tribe. Sometimes people who show up in your life show up when you least expect it. And it may be the person who you never thought it would be. Take these gems, walk away with them, utilize them. We had another phenomenal guest in 2023. We had Jessie Lee, aka Boss Lee. And yeah, may she rest in peace as well. We miss her. She's a phenomenal woman. It was a phenomenal interview, and just proud that I could be there to share her story with all of you. But listen in as she drops some gems about what it's like to be catapulted in the front of the line of life.
To be diagnosed with cancer, it catapults you to the front of the line of life. What has that done for you?
Like I said, I really think it opened up my ability to heal in a lot of ways. But also, I just think, you start to realize how much your true story and vulnerability will allow you to connect with a lot more people as well. But I just think also it's like I was able to release so much anger. Because there's always going to be people that don't like you. There's always going to be people that are coming to attack you, no matter what that is. Or like even my businesses or whatever. People just like to complain and they like to play victim all the time. I can't stop people, like heavy cloud around me. I just feel more free. I don't know how else to explain that. I just feel like, hey, I don't have any relationships in my life now at all where I would feel, if tomorrow were the day. That makes sense? Like now I feel like I just have this like, life is really good and every single relationship in my life is peaceful. I'm not fighting with a single person, not one. Like that feels really good. And then it allows me then to focus really on healing. Yeah. And that's a really great feeling.
So did you notice Jessie Lee talked about, you know what? It's about being vulnerable. It's about healing. It's about being your authentic self and showing that and to connect with people. What an amazing thing. In that episode, she talked about how she mended relationships that were damaged before. And so this is what sometimes this disease can do. Being diagnosed can make you look at things from a different perspective and finding out what's really important. Holding a grudge or being proud about something. No, sometimes it's about, how about you being vulnerable, mending those relationships? She drops gems on here and I hope that you guys can listen to it. Boss Lee was a phenomenal woman and she left us some gems on that episode. Our next guest, we travel over to Queensland, Australia. We had Helen Bailey come in on the show and talk to us about, you know what? Sometimes it's not about feeling sorry for yourself. It's about getting out there and working out. Imagine this. Listening to her story as she talks about some of the things that she did after having reconstructive breast surgery.
Okay, you had surgery and all of a sudden you went to lifting. How did the process work here for those that are listening in?
Okay, so it depends on what procedure you have. Because I had a mastectomy with nil reconstruction, it was a very short recovery time. So number one is you listen to your surgeon's guidelines. So lifting with lymph nodes surgery is fine as long as you start low, monitor for signs and symptoms, progress slow, and then see a lymphedema therapist, any issues. And I actually did self-refer to a lymphedema therapist for measurement and monitoring. So because I'm a physio, I've worked in cancer care in hospitals, seeing people straight after their breast surgery. So I worked as a lymphedema therapist. So initially, my first few weeks, I was just on my own at home because we were still in lockdown. And luckily, I had a home gym. Also, work had been very generous. They'd loaned me some equipment from work because it was shut. So I had this very expensive equipment at home. And also the powerlifting gym had loaned equipment out. So like all was shut. Basically loaned out all the equipment to all the members. And it was just, I put it in my diary the same as like a king on radiation.
So did you notice? Helen just didn't sit home and, relax. She went into lifting weights. She went into exercising because she felt that this was a way that was going to heal. And she's saying that not only did it help her, but there's actually articles on it. Not only did it help her. So if you listen to her, she said not only did lifting help her, but she says that there was articles on it that says that exercising while being diagnosed has benefits. So if you're feeling that, you know what, you want to do something more and you just don't want to sit around and not do anything, try working out. Speak with your physician and see what some of the limitations or non-limitations that you have and see some of the things that you can do. Find out. Helen worked out and she felt amazing. Maybe this is something that you can utilize on your journey. Here on our next guest, we're dropping gems. We're talking Owen Himsmith out of South Jordan, Utah. Listen, This gentleman came in and he talked to us about how to get yourself out of a negative mindset into a positive one. And it's important. As a cancer coach, these are one of the things I talk about to my clients. And so Owen came in and he dropped some gems, some of the things that worked for him. Listen into this. How did you transform that negative mindset to a positive one, to where you're telling yourself, we're going to thrive?
Yeah, it's good. It was a combo of, first, it's learning and becoming aware, right? Like, understand and do what survivors did, right? My primary oncologist became less important to me. She had one solution for me. When I stopped doing chemo, she had no more solutions. She never acknowledged the progress. Like, the tumor shrunk by 30%. She goes, that could have been the chemo. Fair enough. Let's stop the chemo and let's keep going. So what I was doing was priming my mind and keeping my mind in shape. And maybe some people already do this, right? And maybe some people have never done it, right? One thing's for sure is that when I commit to something, I commit with both feet. I'm a burn the ships kind of guy, right? So I made this decision that I'm going to change the way I think about myself. And then I made sure to put atomic habits in place, right? Grouped habit. Like, if those two things are miles apart from each other, it's going to be so frustrating to like try to make your juice every day. So coupling habits, right? By writing on my mirror in a place that I look every day, I was forcing myself to see the positive thoughts I had yesterday. So when I would get into the sauna, or I'd wake up in sort of a foul mood, just feeling a little bit like off and like today sucks, there's my sauna door with like, you're enough, you're worthy, you're valuable. Not every day is going to be perfect. And it's like, let's go.
So if you notice, Owen talked about you have to learn, you have to take in the knowledge in order to be able to transform your mind. It's not something that's just going to happen and you just osmosis. No, you have to learn how to do that. One of the ways, did you hear him? He wrote down some positive affirmations, things that he can look at, talking about he's worthy. Are you writing down things to help you along your journey? Are you strengthening your mindset? Get through this so that you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. The things we say to ourselves matter. I'm going to say that again. The things that we say to ourselves matter. These gems that I'm giving you is so that it can help you along your journey. You don't have to go through this alone. You're not alone in this. We're in this together. I hope that these gems for 2023 are something that you can utilize, something that you can share, and something that maybe you know that someone can benefit from, that you can offer them. This is what we're here for. We're here to empower so that you know that you don't have to go through this alone. We want to empower so that you know that this is something that you're going through, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is light at the end of the tunnel. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And again, we're going to be bringing you more and more episodes where we're going to be creating value for you, things that you can utilize. Whether you're a person who's been diagnosed, whether you're a loved one, whether you're a caregiver, and whether you're just someone who wants to learn more, we're going to create value and give you something that you can utilize in your life and help others utilize in their lives. Let's share this message. Let's let's continue to inspire and empower. And that's what we do. Again, this is Kenny Perkins, AKA your cancer guy. And as I always say, until again, I'm out.
So stay connected with us on All Talk Oncology Cancer Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to that, right? Wherever you listen to your podcast, whether that's Apple, Spotify, make sure you subscribe and continue to spread that word, right? Engage in this because your engagement can help someone stay alive. And this is what we're talking about. So again, make sure you subscribe, hit that subscribe button. Again, this is Kenny Perkins, aka your cancer guy. Until again, I'm out.